All right, good to go?
Yeah.
All right, call the meeting to order. The Operation Committee meeting for today, February 13th. Oh, not yet? Oh, I thought it was good to go.
Well, he was ready to.
I'll wait for the
Ah.
cue.
Right?
No, our waiting audiences.
Come on, there's thousands of people.
Right.
Waiting on a Friday.
26. One of them was probably Dr. Lukerball showing us the budget
We're
link on the
ready.
website.
Six of them are me.
It's all you. We're ready.
All right,
Thanks, Joe.
sounds good. All right, well, welcome everyone. We'll call the February 13th Operations Committee meeting to order. Do a little call of roll here. Tony Sadowski present.
Karen Krieger.
Charlie Martin, that's all three of us here. And we will move on to Section 3, approval of the agenda. Be it resolved that the Centennial School District Operations Committee 3.1 approves the February 13th, 2026 Operations Committee agenda as per the attached. Are there any corrections that need to be made by Pennsylvania law? Second. Thank you, sir. Any discussion on this? Otherwise, all in favor? Aye. Don't think there will be any no's because we all said yes, so we can move on. 3-0. Approval of minutes. 4.1 approves the minutes from the Operations Committee meeting held last month on January 16th, 2026. Can I have a second on that? Any discussion of the minutes? All in favor? Aye. 3-0. And on to presentations.
All right. So we've talked last month, and I think in the our weekly updates, we've talked about this grant that's available. And I just want to get a consensus on, because it's 75% of a program. And I know where we're at with financially and what we're trying to accomplish, honestly. So I think in the weekly update, I recommended one of the highest priorities we have is the Klinger roof over top of the auditorium and gym and God knows what's going to happen when this ice melts and lifts things and things like that. If I was to recommend just one, I would recommend if you could get a consensus of the full board that we do the Klinger Middle School roof, which we would have to commit to $412,000 in order to do that. So I want to put that back in your ballpark because March, we need to know soon because March is the deadline in order to apply for that grant. And they cover 75% of the cost if we get it, honestly, So just want to put that back in and what your thoughts are and see if we could get a consensus to apply for that grant or not. I would, from the board.
One question, if I might. How do we come up with the estimated project cost? As many times we have an estimate such as that, and then when reality comes, it's $3.2 million.
So I did a assessment with Tremco, who has warranties on multiple of our roofs in the school. They did a full building assessment for me of every one of our schools, did a priority list of what's high priority, what's got 15 years left, because I'm trying to do the solar thing also. And a lot of that comes down to when are our roofs available for it, and we don't have any right now that are available for it. So this is their estimate of what it costs to replace that roof on that. So it was done through a company that's done work for us and knows our buildings and things like that. So
Can we do this with, at the end of the day, a not to exceed number? As long as it's a reasonable number?
yeah, I mean, he says it will be, so when I talked to him, he said this is a worst case scenario. He expected it could be less, but you never know till you start pulling back a rubber roof. So they talk about, underlayments and things like that having to be replaced. So I am pretty confident that they know what they're talking about after going through this whole process with them. It's taken a few months to do it. Hasn't happened overnight. I've walked the roofs with them. We've talked about it. We've talked about what our needs are and where we're trying to get with solar. So he gave me a full breakdown of every roof in the district and stuff like that. So I'm confident that that's going to be really close to what it costs or less.
Two questions. Will you then go out to RFP for bids? And is the 25% sitting in reserve?
Yes. So we do have that was my end of that is we do have that 25% that we haven't used even from this year that could roll over, that we wouldn't even have to add another $412,000 out of next year's budget as long as we roll this year's budget into that. So that is correct. Great question.
Do you have that same money for the FCS rooms?
Yes. Yep. Depending on where they come. So where I want them to come, we'll have the money. I'm hoping they don't they're going to probably over-design a little, and we're going to have to draw back. So I have a number I want to land, and some of that stuff we may not have to do. This is a full wish list, right?
Yep.
Hey, if it costs us this, we can't afford that. Where do we cut, and what can we do in-house, right? This is them doing every bit of it. If we have to pull back on FCS, we do the electrical in-house, and it saves us $30,000, $40,000, then we do the electric in-house. And we're yet to get to that point because we haven't come up with a final cost. But my hope is to draw a lot of that stuff back and we do it in-house. I just want to know a full amount before I know where I'm going.
Right.
And everything
Okay.
like that. But great question.
Satisfied with the answers?
Yeah.
Great. And I'm assuming for the FCS rooms, you'd go out to bid too?
Yes. Yep.
Fine.
So, and that's all part of what the package we paid through Barry Izett to do was everything from these drawings, conceptual drawings to blueprints to electrical layout to everything. So everything will come through. It'll get, all the permits will be done. They put it out for bid. Know that the bid is exactly what they're asking for. And they compare them, and then we decide which one we want to go with if we're going to go with it. So it'll all come back and everything like that. So.
You want a recommendation, or what do you need from us? Like a recommendation that we agree to
I think
move
it's
this
got,
ahead?
Tom, with the commitment of the $412,000, would that have to be, would that have to be something written from the board or the board president saying, hey, yes, the board wants to move forward? Because we're going to have to supply a letter basically from the school district saying, hey, we're applying for this grant. We commit to paying this if we get the amount.
I think we would.
Yeah.
We would. So I think we will draft based on the discussion, that seems like that's favorable. That we will include, we'll draft that motion, and present it at the committee of the whole meeting on the 27th.
Jim, would installation of the solar panels and continuation of that project depend on finishing all three of those roofs, or would you be able to start it?
We can
later afterward?
phase it in.
Phase it in.
We can actually phase it in right now with very minor repair at the bus garage. So that's a very small, very low grab of amount of electricity, but it is a start as a phase.
Sure.
So yes, we can phase it in.
I do have one other question. I know that when I did a tour with the Log College principal, he talked to me about the fact that the roofs on Klinger and Log College, where they collapsed on top of the pools.
Yep.
And does that mean that at some point the pools will be able to be reopened again?
Drop ceiling.
Yeah, not the roof, the internal ceiling collapsed.
Drop ceiling.
Yeah.
So like this ceiling, right, they had that structure went into.
So is this part of the project to fix that drop ceiling as well, or not?
No, this is just the external roof itself. Yeah. Keeping that thing watertight because it is not at the moment. And
The pools at the middle schools are in search of a need right now. They have been shut down.
Yep.
Several, as long as I've been using it, at least the last 7 or 8 years. They were in disrepair and hadn't been maintained.
And I mean, just for context, it has come up as a discussion with this group and previous iterations of us before. If we wanted to invest in restoring the pools and returning them in some capacity, I think it's, as we had said, it's the ongoing expense, not just the, let's get them up and running and make them, modern facilities as they need to be again. It costs money on an ongoing basis. So is there an actual need plan for it going forward to warrant that expense? Because
it's not even hundreds a month.
Yeah,
It's thousands a
it's
month
big.
to maintain a pool and keep them within certification, within, everything. They come and test the pool water, the county does, all that stuff.
Sure.
So
Sure.
there's a lot that goes into it that's behind the scenes that nobody sees or thinks about. So that's what's the actual operating cost, we would have to show that to see it, obviously.
Should the motion having a dollar number
to exceed $2 million. That's, I mean, my
Or
suggestion.
would it just be that we commit to, no more than 500 to pursue the grant for the Klinger roof repairs? I'm not sure how we'd have to phrase it,
Yeah.
but whatever would work for the,
If we just put a, hey, not to exceed $500,000, you know.
Yeah, you gotta have a little wiggle room in there.
yeah,
but-
that's fine.
Yes, I think that would be a
I think
big
that'd
help.
be good verbiage,
I'll vote for it.
because then we could go to it could go to 2 million, which is a good fudge factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the bidders would know that there is some limit. They can't come in and bid the sky to put, a 150-year roof on a building.
Yep.
Okay. good.
Great, thank you. Tom, do you have anything to add for capital updates? I know we've been talking about it for weeks now. Yeah, so in front of you is conceptual drawings for the FCS rooms. I just put them out there just so you could look at them. I think they've done a fabulous job in layout. The changes in that are there's 3 normal like kitchen areas, and then a 4th one now is going to be an ADA compatible where you can roll up to the sink, you can roll up to the stovetop. They have wall ovens, and then another change is they never had separate was a teacher's station where they can have the class in front of them, like have an island area where they can cook, and it's actually either projected so the kids can see what's going on, or there's a mirror so the kids can see what's going on. So it's an actual interactive, they can see what's going on in the pan or pot. So that was the idea of bringing this around, is make sure we're ADA compatible and the teacher actually has a location to teach.
So the one that I saw is partially electrical and partially gas. Is the decision to go one way or the other?
Our decision is to go full electric. We have it available in a building, and our thought is to go induction. So if there's not a pot on a hot plate, that you can't put your hand on that electric range and burn your hand. So nobody can leave it on and it can just sit there and be hot, and somebody can lay something on it or put their hand on it and burn them. So, I mean, and they're not really much more expensive than a regular electric ranges anymore.
Are both rooms identical?
They're really close. They all have the same, not quite layout, but they all have the same number of stations because they're a little bit different in size and, but they all have the same number of stations and everything available. Yes.
And the dollars, again, are sitting in the reserve, so.
Yes.
And is it for the whole cost, or is there a separate grant for it?
This is not there's no grant for this, currently. Nothing for this currently. Most of it's for capital projects grants are for like HVAC units or bigger things like that, like roofs and things like that. This doesn't fall under that grant. So, all right.
This is an urgent project that must be done.
This is have you ever, this is a project, I can't say it must be done. I'm not gonna say that. It is a project that's been pushed off, I know, for many years. Probably you know that better than I, because you've been around, but I know it's been going on. They've been trying to make it happen for year after year after year. The one at Klinger is in a space about slightly bigger than that room now, has 4 stations in it, and the sinks actually go into a pump and get pumped up through the ceiling out of a pipe and into a drain. So it's not, if you saw it, you'd be like, why are we doing, this is awful.
It's horrific.
Yeah, it really is. And log isn't that bad, it's just outdated and starting to fall apart. And, it's either we repair a bunch of things or we redo it. And I think in my opinion, it's time to do them.
So they've wanted it for a number of years. They didn't get it, and life went on, and kids got educated.
Agreed.
Do the best of their ability with
Yeah.
half-working equipment,
So
yeah.
what didn't they learn by the way it is?
Well, one of the things too that's changed is they, from what I understand, and I don't know how many years ago, that wasn't a big concern that FCS or home ec kind of went away. And then when they brought it back, they've cobbled things together to make it happen. But they don't have enough space currently for the number of students that are in the FCS classes also. So the load or the demand for the course is actually growing.
Because it's an easy course or because?
I don't know that.
I think my grandson's taking home ec for some reason. All he needed is a class and he had it. It was easy, so he.
And I don't know if it's mandatory. I'm not an educator. I don't know if
I
it's one of
think-
the electives.
And I would have to check. I think all students at least do FCS 1, and there's a second class of it that you can take as an elective later.
But I do know there's a larger amount of students that are taking the classes now than were, I don't know how many years ago, 5, 8 years ago. So. All of this is, nothing has changed on these, capital project wise. Budget wise, the same. We've been talking about budget for weeks now. We know all that's going. So one thing for myself to be presented to the board, we went out for bid for our emergency generator and our fire pump maintenance contract. And we did a 2-year because the last time I did a 3-year, the company I wasn't happy with. I found them doing things they weren't supposed to be doing. Let's just put it that way. I wasn't happy with their service and what they were doing. So this is the results of that. I'm recommending the one for $17,943.58 for the 2-year period. And the reason, there's a lesser one on there, if you could see that 13, but they came back with a bid for only the generators, not the fire pumps. So that's an incomplete bid at 13. That's why I didn't recommend that company. They didn't give us a proper bid, but I wanted to put it on there. So I want to take that forward for approval from the board. So, any questions on that?
The same vendor provides both the equipment and the maintenance. Is it the same? Can't tell from the.
So they come out, we have, the equipment is us, right? So they come out and service our generator. And it needs a filter. This is for the service of it and making sure that it's supplying the amount of power that it's required to, that it's tuned and everything, because you don't want it to come on and supply the wrong amount of power or insufficient power and it just shuts off in an emergency. So they maintain that it's giving us correct power. When it turns on, it's going to turn on and power up what it needs to power. If there's, just like the last time, anything outside of that, say a filter is bad or they find something on the generator bad, we have to pay them for that repair beyond that. And I verify that. That's one of the things I did with the last company is they gave me a bill. I'm like, that's something we can do. So I go out and look at the generator. I open it up and the things they told me were bad on the generator were not bad on the generator. So I verified that they were, and I called them on it, and I don't know a result of what happened, but I wasn't happy with the way they were. So I didn't trust them the rest of the time. They gave me quotes to repair things. I had one of our maintenance guys go at least verify that something was broke and make them show us it was broke before we would put the bill out. So.
Is the fire pump tied also to the sprinkler system?
Yes. Yep. So that's exactly what
So that sprinkler goes off, fire pump kicks off if there's a alert.
Yep. And that's a mandatory inspection and maintenance on those, obviously, by the state. So.
What's the estimate for all of this?
I don't have one yet.
How can we approve it without an estimate?
Well, FCS we're not approving.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted,
for information? Is that
I just wanted you to see where we're at in the process.
Do you have a ballpark?
Probably 5, $250 each.
Can the tech school kids do any of this work with the carpentry, the electrical, all the wonderful things they're doing? They take a project and do some of this stuff, build a counter, do this, do that. They might be looking for a good project that would be helpful with all their expertise.
When
And
it comes to electrical and stuff, I don't know insurance-wise whether that can be done. I would have to look into that, but I can talk about it.
That has come up before on this committee lots of times.
Yeah.
Can those kids do it? And largely, they're just not constantly looking for projects.
Yeah.
Like they know what they're working on.
Yeah, do
They
we
have
know
their
what-
stuff
we know they're
already.
gonna
They're not
show up
sitting there
every day?
waiting for us to say, can you build our FCS classrooms? So
So
it just doesn't really ever work out that. they're looking for something of that scale that we would have to retrofit into a lesson plan and make new.
Gotcha. So let me get to the point where they give us a number, and then let me back that down from there, depending on what we can do in-house and everything. So this is part of the conception. Of course, they want everything in the first grab, but I want to know what everything costs before I back that down and say, we can't do this, we can't do that. We can do that in-house later. It doesn't need to be done today because it's functional. We're buying all the appliances and installing them. I'm not having them buy all the appliances and install them because we can have them delivered and install them. So we're going to save some money in certain areas. I just don't know exactly all those areas yet until I get all the costs and things like that. So more to come.
School kids go to the Middle Bucks unit? Like, I know that they have cooking type classes, but is it only for the high school?
Yeah. And they don't have room for anything else either, that's for sure. They're outgrowing their space. So that's my recommendation. Next to go to the board is IT, so I'm going to allow.
Are we working backwards up here? You did 7.3, so now I feel like I should do 7.2, or I'm not sure which order we should go in, but.
I'm going to cover my
Yeah,
stuff
right.
first.
That sounds
I'll start with 7.2 then, so 7.2.
Kristen, it's all about me. You know.
I know. No, that was good to do all of yours at once. I would do it. So 7.2, Fran and Joey were here last time. You may have noticed that didn't then move to the full board, which was the switches project, which we talked about. Some good news, bad news for the district. You know, part of what we talked about with that was E-rate. We used to have, our E-rate is built off of our free reduced lunch population, our FRLP. And so that has hovered around 51, 52% for the better part of 18 months. And that's kind of where we had gone with some of the bids and gone with E-rate to talk about, okay, if you're in that bracket, they pay for 80% of the project. Here's the good news, bad news part. Our district is now at 48% free and reduced lunch, which knocks us down to the 60% bracket. So it's so great that our district is doing better as a whole, less kids on FRLP, but it does have implications for the system. So it implicates what our E-rate bracket is. So we want to just take that one off the table, start fresh. The PEPA mini bid is a quick turnaround. It's a 2-week turnaround. We'll be able to bring back pretty much a very similar proposal to you with what our 60% share is next month, move forward from there.
Makes sense.
Pausing for everyone, makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. Okay, 7.1, here we go. Okay, now this might be the mea culpa part of the meeting, and again, I'm new to the role of the director here, so I'm still learning, so work with me here. As I look at our budget and our projections for the next 5 years, the 5-year capital plan, you know, we have our capital reserve budget each year. Our switches project looks like it's still gonna come in well under the $1 million. Our projector project came in at about half of what we thought it would for this year. So we're sitting in technology and saying, you know, to Mr. Wortman's point, do you roll over the capital reserve for next year, or do you try to do something else this year with what you kind of were budgeting for, especially knowing where we're going with technology and what the prices of that are starting to look like? So the next big project we would have is the VX Rail. That's our kind of internal cloud. So where the mea culpa is this was not an approved budget capital project for school year. The funds were approved, which is why I worded it that way, and so that's my fault. That's a learning part for me. This would still bring us in under kind of that fund that we had thought of capital projects for this year, but we had initially intended to do this project next year. Switches, VX Rail, access points, so kind of dividing it up. Because the money has been reserved, we're thinking, let's get it now. We know it's only going to get more expensive as we go through March and then into July. And that way we can continue to move forward. It also means our capital reserve ask for next year is going to be very little. Thoughts?
Is it possible you could have some, lack of a better term, emergency project that would then jump up to the top of your list that could supersede this and would be more important to spend the money on, or not?
No, I mean, a lot of what we do with trying to do these projections is to avoid just that. I mean, you can see this is outdated technology at this point, but we're in year 8 of the 5-year commitment we had initially signed on to. So we do try to be very cognizant of what shelf life is with the population we serve. Obviously, a shelf life of a Chromebook looks really different from someone who's paying their bills once a week to a middle school student who's excitedly using that device every single day and completely appropriately in the cafeteria as well. So we do try to anticipate some of those emergency concerns. Friend Joey, I don't know if you want to weigh in at all. Like, I can't. It's hard for me to think of what an emergency might look like that we haven't quite planned for. Yeah.
We put over some tape, we don't.
Not from our department. I mean, that, we don't have to do roofs, right? We don't do roofs or things like that. I mean,
Yeah,
we've got, because we do backups, because we do triangulation, like if we went down something, we've got something else that could let us run for the interim. We don't ever want to
The
keep
big
teaching and learning
major-
from happening.
the big major IT need going forward, like this would, moving this up this year, like you said, would,
It reduces whatever we would ask for next year.
and reduce the risk of there being an emergency situation going.
The issue that we have is, this is a mini data center,
Mhm.
and it's actually up in July. I need lead time so I can get the equipment in July, so I can install it for the summer. That's another reason why we need to get it going.
We're 8 years into the use of this,
Yes.
and tech usage, computer usage, how we manage data, all of that looked so different 8 years ago. Would this modernize us in ways that we are not currently
We're moving
prepared
more and
for?
more to the cloud. That's what we're seeing. This is actually, these numbers, I know it looks big, it's actually coming down, so. Please.
Is a project like this expensed as well? Like, I'm trying to understand, so it's year 8 of the anticipated 5-year commitment. Is it done on a useful life, or it's cash out the door year 1?
So this we put all in, and the idea is our refresh cycle. So that's what that's kind of referring to, is ideally we would refresh maybe after 5 years, 8 years, we look at the life cycle of something. So this is for that duration of that.
Right, but how is the actual accounting of the dollars? Is it cash out the door?
We're paying all up front. Yep. We do have products that we do year leases on. We would talk to that way we would present that as a year lease. Student Chromebooks are like that.
I mean, I tend to be in favor of moving it forward to see what the board says, and up or down on it, especially if it's something we're going to have to do anyway. The equipment's outdated, and it's ultimately going to be less expensive than it would be to do it a year or two from now. I mean, it's a big sum of money, it's something we're going to have to eventually pay.
To be fair, again, like it wouldn't be a year, otherwise we're coming back to you right in July or,
Okay.
right away. So, I mean, but it will be more expensive by then too. That's unfortunately just where technology is right now with pricing. It will be more expensive by July.
I have a simple question, and I'm done. Can you just tell me in terms I might understand what VX Rail hardware is? I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
So I did try to go there. So like the internal cloud, I get it. The internet, what is the internet, right?
The internet I can kind of.
Okay, so think of that as kind of like it's the internal internet for the district. It's what we use for the internet for the district.
That's your segment of it.
Correct. That's our little piece of the cloud.
There you go.
Rail hardware is.
I think, I will say, and I've said this before, on some of these expenses, the way that it was explained to us about why we're moving it forward at this time, knowing this is the expense, but also we spent less in these areas.
Yep.
This funding was already allotted for this year, so we believe this is just a smart opportunity for us to do this now, as opposed to it being more expensive if it wasn't now, or, whenever we are able to do it. I think gives context that might be helpful too as we go forward.
I will clean up my language for sure about the approved budget capital before it goes to the full board. I understand that we're asking for something that is a little out of the ordinary.
I just find, I mean, especially with a large, $500,000 figure, it's helpful to the board always to hear, this is why we're recommending this is why this is a smart expenditure in this way right now versus, if we just decide to punt on it, we're gonna have to do it.
You're not getting away from paying for this at some
Right,
point,
you're
so.
going to pay for it. Here is this is what it costs right now, will cost more later, and also, this pool of money was not used. It's already allotted for technology we would like to use. I think that makes sense.
And
Same
is
page.
there annual maintenance associated to this equipment? Because this is just the pure purchase of the equipment. What happens to the
Correct.
ongoing support of it?
That comes out of the general fund.
That's part of the contract.
It's
Oh.
in this 565? So if it's in this 565,
It's software maintenance, hardware maintenance,
for how long?
5 years.
So if it's 5 years, we have to pay all of that upfront?
It's also the kind of thing that we, as we again talk about that kind of cycle of refreshing things, that we keep in mind for the capital budgeting 5 years from now, knowing that it's gonna come up again. And as we're building out those projections for what we will need to address 4 or 5 years from now, that will be on our radar.
Yep.
Or whatever board directors are in these seats.
Charlie Barton.
Oh, no!
4 or 5 years.
That'd be something.
But yeah, no, I think that's, it's good to get us into those kind of predictable patterns where we know when these big expenses are gonna happen. And again, in 5 years, that's going to be more expensive than that, it just will. So we have to be able to plan ahead for that on this committee, be ready to prepare the board and everybody else for that in budget season 2, that this is coming.
All right. Up to you now, adjourn. I'm good, unless you have more questions.
I will make a meeting to adjourn, or make a movement to adjourn this meeting.
Motion, how about motion?
A motion, I will motion that.
Okay, second.
All right,
Love it.
Very good.
there you go, 30 minutes, Mr.
Here, I'll
Mark.
bang the thing. It's over, it's official.